Hey guys, welcome back to the Tipsy Ghosts. We're your tipsy hosts, Sarah, and Lindsay.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hello.
I have a story for you guys.
You went the spooky route. I went the excited route. It was very different.
That was really drawn out.
It was a little scary.
Well, I'm setting the tone.
Oh, okay. We don't
Setting
even
the
know the
mood.
subject, so we don't. This might
You're
be
right,
a
I
fun
know.
story.
Well, spoiler, it's not.
Oh, we'll make it fun.
I feel like most of our stories are not
That's
fun
true.
stories.
We're going to talk about murder.
This is a scary story.
Okay.
I like
not-
scary.
Not in the scary that you would normally think of.
Oh,
Okay.
there's different kinds of stories?
There's different kinds of scary.
Yeah, there's like
Not spooky.
that's real life scary
Oh, I gotcha.
versus like ooh, spooky
Movie scary. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's our commuter smorgasbord episode.
Yay.
Driving
it's-
to work, listening to TTG. That was my song.
Beautiful.
I
Snaps
can't
all
wait-
around.
Can't wait for the remix.
You know,
Drive
stand by.
to work. Listen to TTG. That's the remix right there.
Okay.
It's
I
fine.
now
It's
see
gonna
why
get better.
the original always does better than the sequel.
That was so rude.
The original wasn't that good.
I'm going to tell you about baby Jessica.
Okay. You know how I feel about children death and
Why
baby
don't
death?
you let me give you a chance to disappoint you before you jump to conclusions?
The title is called Baby Jessica, and you said it was scary.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
And do a dog death next time.
Like I said, Lindsay, give me a chance to disappoint
She
you
said scary, not sad.
before
So
you jump
maybe
to
baby
conclusions.
Jessica is possessed. I don't know. That's my guess.
Okay, what's your guess? Your guess is baby Jessica dies. Your guess is she's possessed.
Yeah, you said scary, not sad.
Let me
so.
tell you what actually happens. I
Okay.
told you it's real life scary.
Okay.
All right, Jessica
Yep.
Starting out strong.
Doing great, Jessica. Uh-huh.
Jessica McClure was born 1986 to parents Sissy and Chip. They lived in Midland, Texas, and had fallen on hard times due to the oil bust of the 1980s. On the morning of, and here's where it ties into October, the morning of Wednesday, October 14th.
I didn't know it tied into October, but cool.
Because of
Spooky.
season.
Yes.
Spooky
I
season.
got you.
And this is the year 1987, so Jessica's 18 months old.
Okay.
Sissy took her to her Aunt Jamie's house. So Jamie ran a daycare out of her home. Jessica was there playing with 4 other kids in the backyard. Jamie was gone, but Sissy was there watching the kids for everybody. And the phone rings. So everyone's in the backyard, phone rings, the adult goes inside to answer the phone,
Makes sense.
leaving the children unattended.
I'm getting nervous. I'm getting sweats.
Within minutes, she heard the kids screaming.
No! God. I hate this. Continue.
Now. Got it.
So Sissy immediately runs outside.
Uh-huh.
And she looks everywhere, but baby Jessica's gone.
Of course she is.
Aliens.
No.
I like that.
Shapeshift arse.
In the movie made about this terrifying event, it shows Sissy frantically searching the backyard, looking over fences, looking in the front yard, running around. And finally, in the backyard, she hears faint cries coming from a hole.
The alien pushed her in the hole.
Yeah. Did you read my notes?
She watched the movie, the Lifetime movie.
It's an ABC movie.
I was close. Lifetime wouldn't do something so scary.
Right. So it was quickly discovered that the 18-month-old had toddled too close to an abandoned well.
Aww.
Okay, I think I know the story, maybe.
Mm-hmm. The opening to the well was normally covered with a large rock, and it's really still unknown how she fell into it or how the rock got off the hole. Who knows?
Obviously.
This is where the aliens come in, yes. Sissy said, I just ran in and called the police. They were there within 3 minutes, but it felt like a lifetime.
Good response time, police. Good
Yeah.
job.
The entrance to the well was 8 inches in diameter.
Holy. What?
Wait,
Aliens. They shoved
is-
her down into the hole.
But she's an 18-month-old.
but that's still very small.
It is. I mean, you're not wrong.
The way I gauge it is a dollar bill is 6 inches long. So you think just a little bit more than a dollar bill.
I did not know that.
Yes. Fun fact. That's how I
Again.
gauge like stuff.
The alien with her long proby fingers was
Mhm.
like,
That's
pushed her
still very, like a kid's head is bigger than 8 inches across.
Apparently not.
Not
So
Jessica's.
the well is 8 inches in diameter, but they don't initially know how deep she was into the well. This is an old well. It's not used, but it's there.
I'm getting nervous, okay? I'm clutching my spooky ghost pillow.
So responders come, right?
Yes.
They lower a microphone down to be able to hear her better. And by noting the length of the cable, they discovered she was 22 feet down.
What the fuck?
That is a long way.
Yes.
It's a lot of dollar bills.
in it.
Line them all up.
What would that be? $44 bills?
No,
44?
way more. So 6 inches, so 2 a foot.
Yeah.
So,
How
yep,
long is
44.
Take it back.
Stop it. You were like, 44! You were just as off as I was.
But I didn't guess. Or correct her.
I had to do the math
No, way
myself.
more. Yes, you're right.
Nope, you're right. I had to do the math. You're right.
So no one knew it at the time, but she was stuck sitting upright, but basically in the splits with her right leg smushed next to her body, sticking straight up and her left leg down.
Yeah, 8 inches. Not a lot of space to be like sitting, you know?
I think we got it 8 inches. So now we're really in a race against the clock to get her out before this position causes any further harm.
Oh, poor baby.
Or worse.
Gosh, I hate this. Okay.
The problem is that, again, it's an 8-inch diameter hole.
Is it 8 inches?
I want to make this clear. 8 inches. Making the
big?
rescue
Okay,
mission extremely challenging.
Yeah, they can't get in there.
No. Rescue is going to be challenging. The crews initially brought in a backhoe to start digging the hole. Because they want to dig in, next to her and then kind of meet in the middle.
Make the hole bigger.
Yep. But the vibrations put her at risk of falling deeper.
Oh.
So they had to quickly stop that. Next, they brought in a large rat hole rig, which apparently, if you want to know, is a machine normally used to plant telephone poles into the ground.
Okay. Rat hole rig.
Rat hole rig. So over the next 2.5 days, crews would work to drill a hole 30 inches wide and 29 feet deep, parallel to the original well.
2.5 days. Oh, that poor baby.
In the meantime, while they're digging this parallel hole, oxygen was pumped into the well, and a microphone was used for constant monitoring and communication with baby Jessica.
No.
She moaned and she wailed. She even sang to herself to pass the time.
Poor baby.
So, one of the guys on scene, a detective, would later recall, quote, "After listening to her for so long, I could tell her moods. At one point, she was singing. At another point, when the jackhammer started up, she didn't say any words, but used kind of a huffy little voice. You could tell it was an angry voice. I would say 80% of the time, she was either crying or making some kind of noise we could hear. When we weren't calling words of encouragement, we'd tell her to sing for us. I'll never forget her singing Winnie the Pooh. Can you imagine this little teeny tiny baby just singing Winnie the Pooh by herself in the hole?
Winnie the Pooh.
Rescuers would take turns singing nursery rhymes down the opening, trying to comfort her. The whole time this was going on, the ordeal was covered live on CNN, which was the nation's first, and at this time in the 80s, the only 24-hour news network. This was also only the second time that the entire nation was able to watch around the clock as the events unfolded, second to the Space Shuttle Challenger a year earlier.
So everybody was on the edge of their seats.
Yes, so essentially that's where we're at now. Everyone in
watching.
the world basically is watching this.
No.
Later she was dubbed everybody's baby because they all were really worried about her.
Well, yeah.
Pretty quickly, the crew ran into issues with the earth and were having trouble getting past really hard rock with their current drill bit. A stronger, sharper bit was brought in, but rescuers were still only able to drill about 1 inch per hour, which takes a long time when your goal is 30 feet deep and there's a little baby in a hole right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
So the hours were turning into days with baby Jessica still stuck in the well.
Oh my God. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I don't, yeah.
The city team of police and firefighters quickly realized they needed experts and put a call out on the news stations for local drillers to come and assist. And of course, it didn't take long for people to start showing up, offering ideas and assistance any way they could. Mm-hmm. Volunteers were coming in from miles away, states away, just wanting to help this little girl. So the parallel hole was finally deep enough that they decided to start drilling a shaft over to the original well so that they could get to her. It took what felt like forever to drill the sideways tunnel because the jackhammers were designed to go down, not across. A mining engineer was brought in to assist with his expertise, and with this, they changed the trajectory of the tunnel from horizontally upwards, trying to go like straight for her, to instead tunneling directly across.
Okay.
To kind of take a beneath approach. This was an important step in ensuring the tunnel wouldn't collapse, and so that they wouldn't run the risk of hitting her with the drill, since they couldn't really pinpoint her exact location as they were digging. A local doctor arrived on scene midway through the rescue attempts. This doctor brought up dehydration concerns, but asked that no food or drink be sent down because they didn't know the extent of her injuries.
True.
If she had any internal injuries,
how would they monitor her?
Right, just wouldn't have been safe.
Aw.
And heat had to be pushed down into the well as the temperatures dropped significantly overnight. So finally came time to send somebody in through the side tunnel to get baby Jessica. An initial volunteer was a local contractor, apparently born without collarbones, who thought that he would be able to contort enough to get to her.
Well.
Pause. You can be born without collarbones?
Yes.
Apparently.
So it's just like
It just comes out straight from the neck.
It's just like skin there.
Or you just like are able to fold.
Like dislocate your shoulders and stuff?
I mean, it's been 2.5 days that this kid's been down there. Everybody's showing up with their magical talents.
Contortionist.
I have no collarbones, send me.
Perfect.
Ultimately, they said...
What about hips? You gotta be, otherwise you're like a triangle.
He still has shoulders. He can just like squeeze his shoulders
like a triangle.
in.
Is he going like head first down the tunnel? You did like a diving.
God, can you imagine how terrifying that would be?
I don't do enclosed spaces, so no, I don't want to think about that.
Okay, this is horrifying.
Hello, Twisted Humans! Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. We're bringing the most intense stories that will keep you up at night.
Join us every Tuesday for a glass of wine and a dose of true crime. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
Ultimately, they sent in paramedic Robert O'Donnell, but the opening from the side tunnel to the well wasn't big enough. He tried. He could barely touch her foot.
Oh.
And so he had to come back out, and they had to start drilling again as the hours continued to march on.
Why did they send in the contortionist?
Why didn't they send someone smaller?
Obviously, that was the right choice.
I think part of the reasoning is they didn't know her injuries, and so they needed somebody with some medical training.
Some medical. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But at that point, it's like, just get her the fuck out of there.
Right.
Yes. So soon after, they had widened the hole, and Robert was able to go down again. And with the world watching, on the evening of October 16th, 1987...
You said go down the hole.
She said they widened the hole so they were able to go down again.
If that's all you got today, that's fine. But
we've done there twice.
I wasn't going to say anything, but Sarah and I made eye contact and I couldn't.
You're going to miss out on the magical part.
Okay, sorry. Let me hear the magical part.
Okay, wait. I'm ready. I'm ready for your magic.
All right. With the world watching, on the evening of October 16th, 1987.
Oh, edge of my seat. So
58 hours after she fell in.
Poor baby.
Baby Jessica was lifted safely out of the well.
Yay!
Way to go, Robert.
Good job, O'Donnell.
Pulled out of the hole on a tiny backboard, she was cradled in the arms of the paramedic.
Aw.
Her head wrapped in gauze and her arms caked in dirt.
Sure.
Jessica was placed in an ambulance and rushed to the hospital. News broadcasts show the crowd erupting with cheers. And in the movie, they show Sissy riding in the front of the ambulance as they pass the streets, lined with people cheering. It's like a little parade for her. They're cheering and crying. And a firework is set off in the distance in celebration of the good news. So I watched both the news coverage, not live, but I watched the news coverage.
No, not live, of course not.
Yesterday. But I did watch the movie last night, and it was just, I teared up a little. It was really touching, and if that doesn't warm your cold heart, I don't know what will.
Are you saying I've got a cold heart?
My heart is already warm.
Grinch.
So she would spend months in the hospital and endure 15 surgeries to treat all of the complications from being trapped for 3 straight days. She and her family were flooded with gifts at this time and cards from well-wishers, and received a visit from Vice President George H.W. Bush and a phone call from President Ronald Reagan. Ultimately, though, today she regained full health. Today she suffers from chronic but controllable rheumatoid arthritis.
Sure. I'm sure
They had to amputate her pinky toe on her right foot from gangrene. From the position she was in, and that really wreaked havoc on the circulation of that foot. Mm-hmm. And so the surgeries were foot reconstruction surgery, and even today her foot's still much smaller than the other foot. And the other thing is a scar on her forehead. She has no memory of the accident or the recovery, and she didn't know her own story until she was 5, and she saw an episode of Rescue 911 about the story of a baby girl's rescue from a well 3 years prior.
She knew it was her.
Well, it's reported that she cried when she watched the story and asked who that little girl was, and that's when her stepmom actually told it was her.
Oh, that's weird. So she had some weird, hidden memory. Maybe.
Which, by the way, I know you reacted to Rescue 911. That was one of the first shows that I have memories of watching.
I loved watching
4
that show.
or 5.
Yeah, I watched it with my parents. I don't know why they let me watch that show.
I know.
Good show.
The 80s and 90s were a different time.
They were. I watched it with my dad, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot.
Jessica went on to graduate high school and marry 2 years after that. She has 2 children and stays home to care for them. She received donations from all over the world, totaling upwards of $800,000.
Holy cow, Jessica.
Which was set aside in a trust for her to inherit on her 25th birthday.
Oh my goodness, Jessica.
What she did, she says she plans on saving it for her children's college education.
Oh, good for her.
Which, I mean, even if you divide it by 2...
It's still way more
unless they're going to be
college.
Doctors.
Right.
I don't know. What other degree has a high tuition rate?
I mean, pretty much anything that requires a PhD would be extra school.
So, well, they've got plenty of college money. In 1988, the McClure and her parents appeared on Live with Regis and Kathy Lee to talk about the incident. ABC made a television movie of the story in 1989 called Everybody's Baby, The Rescue of Jessica McClure. But if you want to look it up on Prime Video, it's just called The Rescue of Jessica McClure. It stars Patty Duke and Beau Bridges, and also features many participants from the actual rescue as extras.
Aww.
And I watched it last night. It's a cute movie. I like it.
Has a good ending.
Mm-hmm. So Jessica would visit the well as an adult, and she told People magazine, quote, "Seeing the well for the first time was hard, but it wasn't upsetting. To me, it's a symbol that it could have taken my life, but it didn't. I had God on my side that day." And then in 2019, her dad Chip posted to Facebook and wrote, quote, 30 years ago today, my daughter baby Jessica captured the world's attention and everyone's hearts as she quietly sang Winnie the Pooh from 22 feet below the surface. She was so close and we could almost touch her, so close that we could hear her muffled cries unaided and with heartbreaking clarity through a single microphone lowered down that well. Thank you for reading, for praying, and for caring. But it's not a totally happy ending. So rescuers in town feuded over a potential Hollywood movie deal.
Oh, greedy.
To be expected, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sissy and Chip put some of the money towards a house in the suburbs, 2 new cars, and Chip's dream of opening a tractor rental business. But they were only 18 when they were thrust into the limelight, and they were overwhelmed by the publicity. They would later divorce, and because everyone knew them, it became very public and very messy. But both would later remarry. 8 years after the accident, Robert O'Donnell, the paramedic who crawled through the horizontal shaft, rescued her from the well, died by suicide.
Aww.
He was called a hero and enjoyed the fame, but found it hard to return to normal life after it was all over. His brother would go on to say, ever since that Jessica deal, his life fell apart. So 4 days before his death, he watched rescuers helping victims of the Oklahoma bombing and told his mother, when those rescuers are through, they're going to need lots of help. I don't mean for a couple of days or weeks, but for years. So obviously, it was later suggested that he suffered from PTSD.
That's what I was getting ready to say, yeah.
Brought on by the
didn't
rescue.
have a lot of, therapy that day.
Of note, many credit CNN's coverage of baby Jessica's rescue as a turning point in the history of news media and the catalyst for a 24-hour news cycle that we know today. The well has been closed up and memorialized and still attracts tourists to this day. And it reads, "For Jessica, 10/16/87, with love from all of us." And that is a story, kind of the quick version of baby Jessica.
Baby Jessica.
Well, that's horrifying. I still don't understand how she got shoved down 22 feet.
Aliens.
Obviously. They shoved
That's
her
what
down
I
with their
can't,
long tentacle finger.
8 inches, like how she was able to go that far without getting stuck.
So I think in my brain what happened is somehow the rock or the whatever got taken off the top.
Right.
And she was just walking.
Sure.
And so one foot went down and then gravity took over, and that's when her leg went up into the splits and she was just kind of wedged in there.
But that's still a really long ways to not stop.
Yeah, they had
Unless
to,
she tried to wiggle out and then fell deeper or something.
That's true.
they had to put a balloon under her so that she wouldn't fall any deeper.
Oh, that's how they take
'Cause
things out of your nose, too.
It is. So
That is true. I've seen that.
they couldn't
Put
pull her up
things
like
up
that though.
there. That's so easy. Put a
The
little
scary thing
balloon.
is that the well was actually like 80 feet to 100 feet deep.
Oh, shit. So she
So-
could have...
Yeah.
She could have gone all the way to the center of the earth.
The middle of hell. Yep.
That's horrifying.
The center of the earth.
What
Isn't
hell?
there a movie about that?
The center of the earth?
With Brendan Fraser or something?
Probably.
It's like a
Sounds
kid's
right.
movie about the center of the
I
earth.
do not know.
Oh,
The center of the earth does not seem pleasant.
it seems hot.
I don't like to be hot.
Do you know what planet is the hottest?
I think you already told us it's Venus.
Why have I already told you that?
Why have we already talked about this? I don't know. The things that we talk about. And Jupiter's the coldest.
Turns out I like space facts.
I like space facts.
Hate space, but like a space facts.
Do you ever have space dreams?
I've had a couple of them. They're horrifying. I absolutely.
I've ever had any.
They scare the shit out of me.
Mine's
Space
about
does.
like re-entry, like fear of re-entry.
Have
Like
you
falling
seen?
out of a spaceship and coming
Oh
to
my
the Earth?
god!
Yeah.
Have you seen the Red Bull? You know when they used to have those extreme sports challenges. Okay, well, Red Bull does this. They used to do this like extreme sport where they used to have like skateboarding, and normal stuff. But then they had this guy that jumped the farthest, free fall, and he jumped from outer space.
No.
That's impossible.
No, it's not.
He
Did
would
he have,
burn
like,
up in the atmosphere.
So they did it just to
And
the
his
point where he
oxygen
would
levels.
not. He about passed out
Oh my gosh.
on the way down.
I have so many concerns for him.
I was on pins and needles the whole time. I'm going to show you guys as soon as we're done with this episode because it's, and I Googled it. I looked it up and everything and I watched his video. I don't know.
How did he not burn?
So I'm sure they worked with like, you know, people who know
Physicists.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
And went to just the right height where he wouldn't like burn up as he came into the atmosphere. It's like just right above. Like it looks like he's from a space station. Like
And then
you
he
can see the
parachuted?
Earth.
Like once he got close?
Yes.
I would never.
And
You can't
he went
even pay
into
me to
that
do
death
that.
spin, you know, because he started going so fast.
No.
Yeah, I would think about passing out.
Would you ever
because of oxygen.
skydive?
I don't think so. I'm
Heck
not
no,
really
tech
big
no.
into to heights.
No, I don't like heights. Heck no, tech no.
You'd have to pay me a lot.
I definitely would not jump from the space station.
No, I don't
No.
think you can jump from the space station. You'd
It
like
may not have been the space station.
You'd bounce.
But I'm telling you, it looked like he was like you could see the whole Earth from where he was jumping, or like at least.
That's giving me anxiety.
I know.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight.
Thank you.
It's fascinating. I watched it twice.
I'd rather have nightmares about like Venus.
He survived. I mean, barely, but it was like a big deal. Anyhow, don't know how I got off into space facts once again, but yes, Venus is the hottest planet. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for that story.
Yes,
welcome.
thank you.
You know, I have
welcome.
heard of Baby Jessica, but I didn't know all the deets. So.
I have heard, but I didn't. Yeah, know the. I don't want to say details.
That was kind of
thought it sounded
the
trendy.
quicker version.
How did
So-
you?
I feel like you got all
about
the
Baby
details in
Jessica?
there.
That's one of my favorite stories.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't know when I heard about it years ago. I think probably on the anniversary.
Yeah.
So back in 2017, I heard about it. And I just really enjoy that story. And it was always just long enough that it'd be too long for like an individual episode.
Yeah.
So I just chose to do it for this one. Plus,
That's
the
perfect.
anniversary is like 2 days ago from when this episode comes out.
Very
Very
cool.
Yep.
We spend too much time together.
Sarah and I just did the same thing. Jinx!
Give me Coke.
All right, well, thanks so much, guys, for listening in for our commuter episode done by Boydston. You can always catch us out at thetipsyghost.com and find our socials from there, or send us an email at thetipsyghost@gmail.com.
Please give us a 5-star rating and a great review anywhere you listen to podcasts. We greatly appreciate it, and it really does help.
All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Sarah.
Bye.